I remember being very excited because I wanted to be a coach so badly, to work directly with the kids. That's really what kind of touched my heart, and that's what drew me. But when I went to the first formal training, I was overwhelmed by it because they threw all the 4 building blocks at us and all the necessity of writing your own lesson plans, not just delivering them, but writing them. And so I was kind of blown away by that. And then the projects that took you a year to finish that came out of that formal training. So it was, level 1 was overwhelming to me. Being able to compose my own activities, compose the wrap-up times and things like that became important. And although I was using somebody else's lesson plan and doing what that lesson plan said, I understood the need to now personalize what I was pouring into it, because one day I would have to write that piece for myself. And so it made me see the whole process a lot differently. They focused on 2 of the 4 building blocks. And the one that I struggled with most in level 1 and the year following was seamless lessons, how you combine the golf skill and the life skill or the core value and present it all in one activity. And so while I now had a new definition, I still didn't feel comfortable that I could put those things together. But in the level 2 school, that's exactly what we did. You know, we had to, as a group, we would get together and we would talk about, okay, how can we make this seamless as well as fun? And so seamless came alive. I understood what it was, and hadn't mastered being able to do it, but I understood in level 2 what it was, and I thought that was a huge step. I was not disappointed in my expectations of interacting with kids. I was surprised by interaction with parents because I hadn't really thought too much about that, but I know that that's just a natural part of the process. And the real surprise was that so many of the parents were just more than appreciative of what we were doing. And they would come and tell me, and so I was able to develop not only real strong relationships with kids, but strong relationships with parents, which still go on today. You know, they call me, they email me, and so even with personal things. So it's really been a huge experience. I was not disappointed at all because the interaction with the kids is probably the most satisfying volunteer work I've ever done in my life, and I've been a volunteer in some form for years and years and years. We need volunteers because for every volunteer we get to add another 8 to 12 kids, and without those volunteers we're stagnant. We can't grow. So I always tell them how important volunteer is, just in terms of numbers of kids that we can reach. But secondly, I also tell them how very satisfying it is to work with a child, particularly an underprivileged child, someone who hadn't seen core values, hasn't had life skills talked about at home. And so these kids wake up to a brand new world when they come to First Tee. And then you can see them just blossom over a period of a few weeks because they come to know the values and the skills, and they start exercising them at home and in school. So just the most satisfying thing that you can ever imagine.